So how to cook, how to dance, how to jump. Good. So as you can see, our real-time search data is working as expected. Hey yo, welcome again to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to create a search box using PHP, MySQL, and also AJAX. Then we are going to be also integrating image mode, whereby you can load in image from the search through our database. Okay, but before we continue, I want to thank you guys for the subscription. It is really amazing. Thank you. We finally got to 4K subscriber, which is great. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive straight to the code. Okay, so in this place now, the first thing we need to consider is to create our landing page, because in AJAX format there has to be front end and there has to be back end. So the front end is where you have your user, your client area, where you have your user typing and doing stuffs, while the back end is going to take care of the search feed that you intended to do. Okay, so here I'm going to create my client area, which is the HTML parts. Okay, so in this HTML part, I'm going to call this PHP PHP search. Let's call this PHP search search feed. I think search feed is good. So PHP search feed. So after this has been created, within this box section, I'm just going to make a div dot flex. Let's call this flex. So with this flex, I'm going to create an inline styling, because it's just something simple. So with this flex that I created just now, I'm going to create another div. So another div of search. Let's call it search. If you are not good with CSS, I would recommend you go for CSS. But this is just something simple that I want to use. Okay, so with this my flex, my search class, and here we have Copilot that help us input this form feed. So this is the form feed that I intended to use. Okay, so here now we have an action of search.php, but I'm not using action of search.php. So instead, I will remove the search.php, just leave the action the way it is, and also the post. So this is just a demo. Then this is your form tag. We need to add an ID so that we can use to map in the element, so that we can add an event to it. Okay, so after targeting the ID, then within this place, I'm going to call this search form as an ID. So the search form as an ID is added. So if I save this now and load the index on my browser, you're going to see that the style is not added yet, because we haven't created the style. But I want to show you how it is without the style. So let me go to Microsoft Edge, open a new tab, then localhost. Oh, my server is not running yet, sorry. Let me start my server. I use MAMP server, so in case you also want to use MAMP server, you can go ahead and download it. But you can use XAMPP, you can use WAMP, anyone is allowed. Okay, so it is not necessary you use MAMP server. Then I close that, go to the folder test slash search. Yes, slash search. So as you can see now, we have this here. We have this simple search. So now let's try to bring this simple search to the center and give it a padding of top. So that is the main purpose of having this flex and having this div that we have here. So within this flex, I'm going to target dot flex. The dot flex is going to take in display flex, justify content center, align item center, and the height will not be 100 virtual heights, as I'm not using that. So leave the height, take it out, we don't need the height. So click on save, and let's go back to our browser. Now as you can see, we have this amazing section. So the next thing I'm going to do is target this my search itself and give it a margin, or we can even give the margin to the flex. So we can give the margin to the flex. So let's give the margin to the flex. So margin top. I'm not really good with CSS, guys, so anywhere I do is just accept it. I'm into backend almost every time. So now this is amazing. So the next one we are going to do now is to create our entry point for our search. So the entry point is where our data is going to be loaded to once we trigger the search query. Do you get? Okay, so to do that, I'm going to also introduce a new feed entirely. So this new feed is going to be another display flex. So div.flex, enter. Then within this place we are going to have the input. So this place is going to be div.output. Let's call this output. So within this output section, I'm going to be outputting something really simple. So let's apply images, because we are going to also be introducing picture. So this picture mode, we need to go to the internet and get image. So let me go to google.com, or let me just search for an image. So user image. So go to images, and let me see if I can copy the URL. Let's see if that is possible. So copy image link, paste, though it's long, but at least it's still something. So I'll click on save and go move on to the next part of the element, just this element we have here. So take it down, and here we're going to pass the name of the user into it. So let's just pass, or anything, let's call it how to cook or how to code. Let's use how to code. So this is just a simple example of what we're going to be doing. So this will be our output, but we need to practicalize how the output is going to be before we start doing the search backend. So the front end has to be done first before you start thinking of the backend. So after clicking on save, now don't forget our flex is already set. So the next thing we need to target is our image. So this image has to be small, because at the moment it's big. So let's save it, and let me show you what I mean. So if I save that now and I go to my search, refresh, as you can see, the image is very big. So to fix that, I need to target output, then img, which is the image. So dot output, then img. So within this section, I'm going to introduce the width that is going to validate it. 50 pixel height, 50 pixel border radius, which is 50 pixel, but I don't need border radius, sorry. So margin right 10 pixels. So 10 pixels is going to give it a different from what we have here. And also this output has to be flex, because let me show you, if it's not flex, it's not going to be in a single line. As you can see, it's been in a block mode, which is not really good. So let's make it flex. So it is very important for us to convert this guy to flex, so that it's going to look amazing. So let's convert this guy to flex, save. Now we have display flex, centered, margin top 20, so that it's going to give a space between what we have above. So refresh, as you can see, this is amazing. So now this picture, now we need to reduce it. It's just too big. So 2020. Okay, this is good. So also you need to add object fit, because object fit is going to help you in a situation whereby the image is very, very big. So object fit, object position center. Okay, save, and let's do this. Refresh, as you can see, this is amazing. So now the next thing we need to just pass into this place is a kind of text that says results she gets. So here we're going to have let's call this h4, and here we have the results. Refresh. No, we need to drop it down, because it's flex. This guy is not allowing me to do that. So I don't know if I gave it class, let's see, or let me do an inline style with 100%. Let's say save. Oh, it's not good. So in that was what I'm gonna do in this case is just pass it into this place. So div.header, yes. Then here we have search results. Good. So this search result is over there. So this header, let's move it down to the center. Sorry, header to center. Okay, save, refresh. As you can see, we have this. But if you notice, you discover that the spacing is just too much. Yeah, it's too much. So let's target this spacing, remove it, margin top. Okay, that is for general. Oh, okay. So what do we do? Let's remove the spacing for the h2 instead. So margin is going to be 0, and margin top margin top is going to be 10. I think this is good. And checking that, as you can see, everything is fine, but our guy output is the main problem. So let's take out output margin top, which is very important, and also h4, header h4. So cut this out and pass in h4 into it. H4. Okay, so within this h4 we need to give it a is it h4 is h2 rather. So within this h2 we need to pass in margin bottom 0 pixel, which is very important, so that it's not going to be too big. So save it, refresh. As you can see, this is becoming great. Okay, so the next thing I need to look into is what else is causing this big spacing. So what is causing this big spacing? Let's check it out very well. Okay, it's the flex. So the second flex is really giving us headaches. So within the second flex section, I'm going to pass in empty 0. So copy this empty 0, which is margin top 0. So within this place, we pass in empty 0. Sorry, empty. Oh, something is wrong with my editor. Dot empty 0. Okay, so margin top 0. So click on save and refresh. As you can see, we have this amazing new layer. So this is exactly what we want to pass. So now we are done with the inline. So all this inline, if you like, you can pass it to your external script, which is within your section, and input it into this place. So if you don't know how to do that, let me also show you how to do that, so that you also learn this from this tutorial. So highlight everything, cut it, and within this place, delete what you have here and pass in link, then CSS, and here we have style.css, as you can see. So within this place, you can either create a new file or create a new folder, but instead let's create a new folder called assets/css/style.css. So we have assets, then /css, then slash, then the style.css, sorry, style.css. Click on save, enter it. Oh, sorry, rename, delete. Yeah, oh, I thought it's going to create a file. I'm sorry about that. So now the path is created, we have the path, so let's create the file style.css. okay, paste it into this place, click on save, and that is going to be saved for you. And here now we have the file, we have the style connected to our HTML. So if I refresh my browser now, it should be applied. Oh, it's not applied. So what is wrong? Okay, what is wrong here is because our path, the path is not seeing search form. So let me copy my main path and pass in base tag. So base tag needs to be passed because this is a subfolder. Because it's a subfolder, it's not going to work if I don't pass the base tag. So that this subfolder is going to locate my assets. So click on save, refresh. Still nothing. Okay, so to debug what we have here, what we're going to do now is to inspect our elements. So let's just view this page. View page. Okay, that is not coming through. So let me inspect my header. Drop it down, go to your style sheet. As you can see, we have this guy here, which is coming from text search assets. Okay, my CSS is not correct. As you can see, that is where the problem is coming from. So now you learn how to debug. Awesome. So refresh. As you can see, it is working. Cool. So the next thing we are going to do now is to create our backend. Is very important. We need to start working on our backend now. So to create a backend section, we first need to create our table, which is the database itself. We need to create our database that is going to be connected to our table. Then we can search the database itself. So we are going to go to our browser, then go to our database, which is very important. Go to our database, create a new database called PHP search. Enter. Then within this place, we are going to call it products, or I think blog is good. Let's call it blog. So blog table. So within this blog table, we are going to have an ID of the increment section. So for the auto increment, ID has to be connected so that you can delete and edit your data. Okay, so here we have the name of the blog. So let's call this voucher or text. So voucher will be used. So let me use 1000 here, and the default is going to be none, which is very important. So that part is done. Then the next one that we need here is the image. So here is going to be text because it might be very long, so leave that. You don't need to pass any value of the length. Okay, so the ID, the name, the email is passed. What else do we need? Yeah, that's all for the search to work. So we don't need anything much. So click on save, and we have ID, we have name, we have image, which is great. So now we have our data ready for us to use. So if I go to browse, we have something like this. So the next thing we need to do is to insert some data. So let's insert some data. So click on this browse and go to insert. So normally on your own desktop it might look something like this. So let me zoom out. So within this place I'm going to pass how to code, then the image. So let's go to Bing, how to code image. So how to code image, go to images, and we are going to get some picture. So let's use this picture. So click on this picture and copy the URL, copy image URL. Okay, so paste it here, and let's do another one. So the next one we're going to do is how to dance. I think how to dance is good. Then the image URL will be how to dance. Okay, so it's going to show dancing picture once we try to do the search. So copy image link and paste it here, click on go. Okay, so this is inserted browse. So we have two data, so let's add more data to it. So insert how to cook search. So with how to cook, we are going to be given this image. So we are going to borrow this picture, copy the link, paste the link into this place. Then let's add another one. Let's type how to jump. I think jump is good. How to jump. So let's copy this picture. How to jump, copy image link, how to jump, paste it here. Okay, then click on go. Awesome. So now we have about 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 data ready for search query. Good. So the next thing we are going to do now, because if I search now, nothing really happened. As you can see, nothing is happening. So I'm going to go to my VS Code, and here we are going to create a new folder called process. I love using process a lot. Within process folder, we call this AJAX.php because we are going to be using AJAX or true. So within our AJAX system, we need to make a connection between our PHP and our MySQL. This guy that has this data, it is very important. So to do that, we are going to do this query of connection. So to do the connection query, we need to some people normally create their data, which is localhost, all those variables. They love to do that. So let's also apply the same thing. So first we are going to have our PHP starting. Then within this place we are going to have db constant. Okay, so here we have the db host. Cool. Define db host user. Okay, db host user, which is root. Yeah, then the next one is define. So let me just copy what I have here. Okay, so shift alternative down. If you are using Windows, it is shift alternative down to do this. Can you see? but if you are using Mac, just click on Shift option down. That will help you achieve that. So we have DB host user, then the next one is DB host user password, so password. So my user password is still root, my username is root. So the next one I'm gonna do is the database. So DB name is what? So let's go to our database and target the DB name as blog. Okay, so after that we make PDO connection. So connect to DB. So we're going to be using PDO. So with PDO we are going to have awesome query. So let's use try. I love to use try so that if anything gets wrong, we are going to what? We are going to throw the error. So first let's try the connection. So try PDO connection. Okay, so here we have our PDO connection instance being created. So here is the PDO class. So here we have new PDO class. We target the engine of MySQL, and the host is DB host. The DB name is DB name, and the DB host user is the host user, and also the password is also replicated. Awesome. So the next thing we are going to do is to process the connection. So check if there is an error, then trigger it. So if there's an error, we pass in the error handling mode to set attribute PDO error mode. So all this is just natural thing for you to connect your PDO connection and also accept the PDO exception. So we need to accept PDO exception from here. So PDO exception is what is going to help us accept whatever happened or throw whatever is happening with our database. We can either throw or we echo. So either of the two. So this throw and echo is awesome. Okay, so click on save and our PDO is live. So now the next thing we are going to do now is just click on is just pass an echo to this place. So you check if this is successful, then here we're gonna pass echo connection connected to database, else is going to throw this error. So that's amazing. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to target this ajax.php directly for us to check if this database is working. So I'm going to go to my Microsoft Edge, then go to my Ajax feed section. So let me zoom in this area. Oh, my URL is not zooming. So here I'm going to go to the process folder. So process, then /ajax.php, enter on caught PDO exception on no database blog. Ooh, let's see, on no database blog. Okay, this is table blog. Sorry about that. PHP search is the database. Sorry about that. Sorry. No, it is good to make mistake. If you make mistake, you learn from it. So it is not a bad thing. So it is normal to make mistake. Refresh, as you can see, we have what connected to what to database, which is amazing. So the next thing we need to do now is to tap into our search data. So here now we are not going to listen. We are going to listen to this guy. We are going to listen if this search is submitted from this guy. So what we are going to listen from here is this search input feed. So we are going to check if search input feed is set. If it is set, then look for the data. Okay, so here we're going to say check if is set. Check if is set, post this guy. So if this guy is set, then do search. So if it's set, post search, then if it's set variable search to PHP, then pick it. So this is absolutely amazing. This is exactly what I want to type. So Copilot actually did this. So guys, in case you don't know how this happened, it is happened using this GitHub Copilot. This actually did the amazing job. Awesome. So now here we have check if it's set, post search. So if search is set, then it's going to get the value from search, that is from the input feed that is coming all the way from this place. After getting it, then we are going to prepare the SQL statement. So here we have select all from user. Meanwhile, we are not using user, we use blog. So let me show you. So Copilot cannot be right all the time. As you can see, we use blog. So select all from blog. As you can see, select all from blog where name. Let me show you again. Name, can you see? This is the name. So where name like, exactly like such, that is what is coming. So like is simply something related to what is coming from the search. Something related, that is what we use this like for. So select all from block where name like such. Then we prepare the statement, we pass in the SQL, we bind the parameter. So this param is binded to our search string, because this is the regular string, so it's binded to this guy, and here we pass in the string value, and we also pass the data type, which is param, which is PDO param string. Awesome. So after that is done, we trigger the execution, we run the execution, and we fetch all the results. After the result is being fetched, and here we accept the result using fetch associate. So you can use fetch associate, you can use fetch object. So me personally, I use fetch obj, which is object. So with fetch object, you can accept the data using what object format. So here you can pass in like this instead of associate format. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. So click on save, and this is exactly what should happen. It should show us the result if the result actually found in database. So click on save. So after getting the entire data, because it's coming in an array, we for each the data, we loop through what is coming and we echo it. That is how search work. So if I click on save now and go to my index and pass this data here directly, it's going to work. But I want us to use AJAX. But before we use AJAX, let's do direct mode first. So here I'm going to target this part. That is this process. You target the process slash ajax.php. So let's first do direct mode before we do the AJAX mode, so that you see the difference. So if I click on save and I go to my Microsoft Edge, refresh what I have on the landing page. So refresh. So if I refresh and I click on search, so let's search for, let's say we want to search for how to code. So if I click on search, as you can see, it says what connected to database, and it shows how to code, because how to code is valid. Sorry, that's a mistake. So it shows how to code, and how to code is valid. So the next thing we need to work with now is to go to our ajax.php and comment out this connected to database, because we don't need it. It's going to corrupt our response. So if I refresh now, as you can see, it shows what how to code, because we submitted how to code data. Good. But instead of using page refresh mode, what we want to use is AJAX. We don't want the page to get refreshed. Okay, so we're going to go back to our index and take out this action, which is very important. Remove it and copy this our ID search form, move it down to the bottom of the folder, bottom of the script, bottom of the elements rather. Sorry about that. So here we're gonna pass in scripts, but unfortunately we haven't passed in our jQuery. So instead we are going to go for jQuery. I'm going to copy the jQuery CDN. So here we search jQuery CDN. So you can either go for this, but me, I normally love to use W3 School CDN. I don't know why, I'm just obsessed with the URL on W3 School. So I will just copy what I have here, copy everything I have here, Control C, remove it, close the tab, go back to my code and pass it above this section. So here I'm going to have script source, then pass in the source. Oh, sorry about that, I copied the entire source. I was taking his URL. Okay, so cool. So here now we have the AJAX API being added to our script, and here we need to pass in the submit query. So here we have the on submit event. Awesome. So let me zoom out so that you can see my screen. So here we have jQuery on submit event. I believe you guys understand everything that happened here. So after the user have triggered submit, that is search, this guy, can you see this button? After this button has been triggered, then we prevent the default, that is, we prevent it from reloading the page, and we get the value, which is from the search input text. This guy we have here, this guy, we get the value. So after getting the value, then we prepare our AJAX request to process slash ajax.php, and the type mode is post, and here the data we are sending is this search. Cool. And after that has been searched, then the response we need from what is coming is to load it into output. So the output is going to enter here. So at the moment, we need to copy everything we have here, cut it out so that the output is going to be empty. So that output is going to accept our HTML. But at the moment, what is coming from the backend is not an HTML. So we need to go to the AJAX section again and prepare this data to accept what's it called? To accept HTML. So for us to accept HTML in this section, what we need to do that is very, very important is for us to allow listing format, that is UL. So I'm going to introduce UL now. So to enable UL, I'm going to close the PHP statement, start the PHP statement. Then within this section, I'm going to have UL, then LI. Within LI, I will pass this data. As you can see, this is our main data that we have here. So this for each is going to be inside this UL. So copy entire data that we have here and move it down to this place. Close statement, start statement, paste it within this section, and this UL, cut it and pass it right after the for each statements. Can you see the for each end here? But instead of using this kind of for each, let's use the single line for each. Then we have end for each. So close the statement, start the statement. Then within this section, pass in our UL. Cool. Can you see? Everything is connected. So the next thing we need to pass is to copy this name, copy the name, and process the name into this place. So here I'm going to pass it here, PHP echo name. Cool. Then the next one is the image. So let's copy this. I copy the column name. Oh, that's what I copy. So in case you don't know. So here I'm going to pass the image also. So echo results, then image. Cool. Click on save, and that is safe. And we also bind it to UL, so that's going to be in a list format. Do you understand? So this UL, let's see how it's going to look like when we process it. So I'm going to refresh this page, and yeah, I'm going to search how. So with how, and I click on send, it shows no results. Oh, that's unusual. So how to code, click on search, and as you can see, we have how to code. Awesome. Though normally this how is supposed to work. So let's see what is wrong with our AJAX. So based on what I can see here, the search term is just processed directly, but there's an issue. There is no like format. There is no like percentage format that has to pass the variable. So within this section, let's process it manually. I think that is going to really help us a lot. So let's pass percentage to our search so that it's going to accept it. So now I'm passing it. So this should work with like. So refresh. So if I do how should show something. Awesome. Exactly. So now this worked perfectly, but there's an issue. Yeah, there's an issue. So our UL is coming in as a flex, but unfortunately there is not enough room to load the data. So what I'm going to do now is this what should we do? Let's give a width to our output. So width 200 pixel. Oh, that doesn't do it. So let's also target our UL width 200 pixel. So I think this actually work a bit. 500, 600. The outside parent is affecting it. Okay, so let's target this guy again. So what I'm going to do in this case now, since this flex is not really helping us, so I'm going to go back to the style and take out this flex from the output. So this output is not going to be flexed anymore. Instead, we are going to have width of 100%. So let's refresh and see what we have. So how, just search how. Cool. So we have something like this. Good. So what do we do? So let's just configure this part first. So let's target output and UL, output ul li. So list item none, so list item type none. Let's start with that. Refresh, enter. So we have this. So if I check what we have here, I can see that the p is taking 100%. So this list item needs to carry the what is it called, the display flex, which is very important. So it has to be the one to carry it. So how, enter. As you can see, it worked. Amazing. I'm not really good with CSS. Actually, I'm not really good with CSS. So in case you want to pass in an over for every of this li, so it is possible. So let's just do that also. So here we're going to pass in over on over. So anytime you use an over on it, so let's just give it a background and let's see how it look like. So how, so as you can see, we have this, which is amazing. So now at the moment, it is until you click on search before this is going to work. But how do you want to do it if you want it to be a live search? So live search is also very simple. So to enable live search, this is what we're going to do. Let's go back to our code. So within our code section, we go to our JavaScript area. So instead of listening to on submit, so we are going to listen to two. So both on submit and also on key hop, that is once the user is done typing. So there are several ways to do it. Is either you use the bounce or you use manual formats. So here we're going to check if user is done typing. So you check if the user is done typing, which is regular millisecond that we normally use. So this is the best format for you to know if the user is done typing exactly. So here we have let typing timer, which is this timer that we use for our set timeouts. So done typing interval is 1 second. So this simply means 1 second. So we can it won't be advisable to use 1 second. So use 2 seconds, which is very important. So here we have 2 seconds. So here now, which is our timer starter. Our timer starter is going to be saved here as set timeout timer, which is timeout itself as the timer events. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. This lets typing timer accept this event from set timeout, and set timeout accept our done typing, and our done typing is not yet available. So this done typing is the next function we are going to create now, so that is going to be attached to our done typing interval, which is this 2 seconds inside set timeout. So if this guy is done typing, we are going to check if this timer is alive. If it's alive, we clear the timeout, else we set it again. Do you understand? Good. So to do that, we are going to do our done typing over here. So here we have done typing. So this key down to clear it. Awesome. I love that. So here is done typing itself. So function done typing. So done typing is going to do exactly what this guy is doing. That is, this same data that we have here is going to do it because it's done typing. Cool. So if the user is done typing, which is the key down, if it's done typing, it's going to clear the timeout. But if the user is still typing, which is key up, it's going to set the timeout and it's going to clear the previous. So click on save and let's go back to our Microsoft Edge, refresh. So if I'm typing here real time, we should have something on our screen. So why is this guy showing up? Cool. So here I'm going to search owl. So if I search owl space, as you can see, it's load, but it's slow. So let's reduce this to 1 second. Save, refresh again. Owl, good to code. How to code. Though it's still slow, but that's just the best way to do it so that you are not going to shut down your server. So how to cook, how to dance, how to jump. Good. So as you can see, our real-time search data is working as expected. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this tutorial. I really appreciate that for you sticking by. So your search will work and your live feed is gonna work. Amazing. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video once again. See you in my next video. Bye.